Sicily, a Mediterranean island known for its rich history, stunning coastline, ancient hilltop villages, mouth-watering street food, vibrant culture, and the mafia. Right from the beginning, Sicily greeted us with warm hospitality, breathtaking scenery, winding narrow streets, one unexpected adventure after another. For 3 unforgettable weeks, we explored this incredible island in our campervan, and in this video we're sharing the highlights of our trip, along with some hidden gems you might not see anywhere else. We'll show you the places, the people and the food that made this trip one of our favourite adventures ever. Join us on the ultimate Sicily road trip. The first stop on our ultimate Sicily road trip was Taormina. This enchanting hilltop town overlooks the Ionian Sea, and on a good day you can see Mount Etna from here. The town itself has a pedestrian street lined with fancy boutiques and little alleyways off to the sides with stairs leading to restaurants and shops. There are 2 ancient gates leading into the city, a medieval cathedral and an ancient Greek theatre, the second largest in all of Italy. While you can drive to Taormina, parking might be tricky. You can park at the bottom of the hill and walk up, or there's a public bus and even a cable car. When you visit, don't miss going even further uphill to Castelmole and check out the pretty Isola Bella, which is a hop, skip and jump off the coast. For more on this beautiful part of Sicily, check out our first Sicily video.
Ciao ciao friends!
Welcome to Syracuse. Syracuse is one of Sicily's most important historic cities. Founded by the Greeks in 733 BC, it was once one of the most powerful cities in the Mediterranean. Today, Syracuse blends ancient Greek heritage with a beautiful Baroque old town on the island of Ortigia. This morning we are in Syracuse and heading down to the archaeological park. So the ticket was $16.50. We're just coming through the entrance. We walked past several caves that had been carved into the limestone cliffs. There's currently a temporary sculpture exhibition here by the Polish artist Igor Mitore. And just in case you weren't convinced that this was an archaeological park, we are almost at one of the most famous attractions in this park. It's called the Ear of Dionysius, and in this cave supposedly it has really unique acoustic abilities, and the legend has it that the tyrant Dionysius used to put his political opponents inside this cave, imprison them in there, and he would be able to stand and listen to what they were saying. Oh my gosh, it goes in quite a way.
And the cool thing is, I can't see it with the naked eye, but there's quite an impressive sculpture in here. It is kind of shaped like a contour of an inner ear.
We're coming up now to the Greek theatre, and this theatre was built in the 5th century BC. So this is the largest Greek theatre ruins in Italy. And what's really interesting about this one is in the summertime they actually still hold performances here. So this whole area that we're standing, this terrace, there was a whole nother level of seating here. And one of the important things with Greek theatres was that they had a good outlook. Here we're looking out over the city of Syracuse and the ocean. So once we come out of the Greek theatre, we're going in through this entrance.
Amphitheatro Romano.
See, the Roman amphitheatre was built in the early imperial times, and it was used for gladiator battles. It's one of the largest amphitheatres, measuring 140 metres long by 119 wide. And you can see from those diagonal lines there how this actually has been just carved out of the living rock. There were 2 tunnels that led into the underground area where the gladiators would come in to enter. And one of the coolest things about visiting Sicily in the winter is getting to see all of these areas with almost nobody else around. Okay, so we're now on Ortigia, which is the old historic island, and as you can see, quite a few campers. There's a car park right here where it costs 15 euros to park for 24 hours. So this gentleman behind me helped with getting the ticket and of course asked for a little donation to help his family. From the parking lot, it's just a short walk through the street markets into town. We do love the markets in Sicily. Oh, stinky seafood. And at the end of the market are these ruins, which is the Temple of Apollo. And it dates back from the 6th century BCE. And it's just crazy that it's just sitting here in the middle of the city, this old pile of ruins. We walked through the narrow streets of the old town until we arrived in the main square. This is the Cathedral of Syracuse, and this is a Baroque building. So this cathedral was built over the columns of the Temple of Athena, which dates back from the 6th century BCE. And you can see those columns along the side wall and also inside. And another interesting fact about this cathedral is it actually became a mosque in 878. I guess that's at a time when the Saracens were here, but it converted back to being a church in the 11th century. Are all these beautiful little side chapels. This chapel is dedicated to Saint Lucy, the patron saint of Syracuse. Also in this square is the Chiesa di Santa Lucia alla Badia, or the Church of the Burial of St. Lucy, which once housed Caravaggio's painting called The Burial of St. Lucy. This is a copy, so the original is no longer here in the church. So this here is the apparently legendary Fonte de Aretusa, with the papyrus plants in the middle. So we're walking along the water here towards the castle, and all the restaurants have like sample food.
Beautiful looking food.
I know. All this seafood.
Now it's starting to water.
So beautiful here. We're coming now to the Castello Maniaci, which was built in 1038 by the Emperor Frederick II. And this was when they won Syracuse back from the Arabs. And they built this fort here. €5 per person to come into the Castel Maniaci. So the castle was built here in a strategic position at the very tip of the Ortigia Island. There's not a lot of information here, but it's a cool place to wander around, and we had some fun exploring and filming here. It's like a bit of a maze through here. Gotcha.
Come in.
Okay, maybe that bit wasn't fun. We have come to a little cafe, sit and watch the sunset over the water, have a little Aperol spritz to finish a good day here in Syracuse.
And celebrate the fact that my drone is alive after smacking into a tree. What a sunset.
Yeah, what a day. The Valley of the Temples in Agrigento is one of Sicily's best archaeological sites. This UNESCO World Heritage Site showcases the ruins of an ancient Greek city from when Sicily was part of Magna Graecia. These remarkably well-preserved Doric temples date back to the 5th century BC. This whole Valley of the Temples complex is one of the best preserved examples of ancient Greece. The first temple we saw was the Temple of the Dioscuri, dedicated to Castor and Pollux, the twin sons of Leda and Zeus. Now, while there's only 4 columns left of this temple now, originally it would have had 6 on the short side and 13 on the long side. The rest of the temple is in ruins, and we were surprised that we could just wander around amongst the pieces of the columns. Here outside the temple are a whole bunch of altars. At this large round one here, they could sacrifice 4 bulls at one time, and their blood would flow down this hole in the middle and go into the earth, fertilising the earth. We're now walking through the Temple of Zeus, which was the largest temple in Greek Sicily, and this temple is known for the presence of telemons, which are these giant human statues. And one of them has been reconstructed here. It's lying down, but apparently originally they would have been all along the columns on the outside of the temple, kind of holding it up. And those telemon statues were 8 metres tall. These columns are what remains of the Temple of Heracles or Hercules. And what I'm finding interesting looking up at them is that they're not made out of marble. You can see the brickwork on the inside.
We have been told previously that if you see brickwork within the artefacts that don't quite look right, then they aren't. That's not to say that a lot of this is original, but the brickwork is put in there to keep the artefacts intact, or keep them upright for us to admire. We're making our way up to the most impressive temple of all.
This is the Temple of Concordia. And this temple was built in the 5th century BC, and the only reason that it is in such a good state of repair compared to all the others was because it became a Christian church. So obviously looking out we can see the sea. The sun is just about to set, and it's often said that these temples were built in this space with the city of now Agrigento, Akragos, up on top of the hill, and the temples in between the city and the sea so that they could be seen from the ocean. This last temple that we're looking at is the Temple of Juno. This has been an absolutely gorgeous visit. We can highly recommend coming to the Valley of the Temples. 15 euros is the entry to get in here, and you want to allow a good couple of hours to walk around. It is apparently a couple of kilometres to get from where we came in at gate number 5 all the way up to the Temple of Juno. We recommend visiting in the late afternoon and staying around for sunset. The temples look even more beautiful as they change colours with the setting sun.
Yeah, very, very blessed with the conditions. The light was beautiful. What a wonderful sunset. Highly recommended site, worth visiting.
Just 20 minutes drive further along the coast will bring you to the Scala dei Turchi, or Turkish Steps. This brilliant white cliff got its name from its stepped appearance and from the stories of Saracens or Turks using the stepped feature to climb the cliff and raid villages. In recent years, there's been a dispute over ownership of the land between a private individual and the municipality. While it was possible to access the cliff when we visited, it appears from the website that access is now closed. We stayed in a camper sosta overlooking the beach. This place cost €20 a night, which includes showers and electricity and a tuk-tuk shuttle down to the beach.
This is exciting.
Let's go in the tuk-tuk. Yeah. Can you believe it was warm enough to swim on December 30th? 3, 2, 1, go! Erice is a stunning medieval hilltop town with breathtaking panoramic views of the coastline and the Agadi Islands. The town is known for its cobbled streets, ancient stone buildings and well-preserved historic charm. We parked our campervan at the bottom of the hill and took the cable car up to the village. So the tickets are €11 for a round trip. Let's go, Nige. We are off. As we're pulling in to stop. So we're starting off this morning with the Duomo. And this dates back from the beginning. I thought they'd finished. It dates back from the beginning of the 14th century. The entry ticket for the cathedral is €2.50, €2.50, and it's a separate €2.50 to go up into the bell tower, or you can buy a ticket for €6, which gets you into both these and all of the other churches as well. We have purchased the €6 passport, and now we're walking up the tower, and it's quite low, so it says everywhere, watch your head.
It's got handrails. It's pretty.
The handrails are fun,
Pretty good, eh? The bells. The bells.
We made it. We are at the top.
It's all automated, yeah.
All the bells here. And from the top of here, the views are incredible. This tower, the bell tower of the cathedral now, sits on the site of an ancient watchtower which was built at the end of the Punic War, which was in the 3rd century. So this actual tower was rebuilt in the 13th century. Next up is the Real Duomo, or the cathedral is beautiful, and inside you'll also find a museum with some of the excellent silverwork that the area is known for. Then it was time to go in search of coffee.
Arancine, cannoli, arancine, pizza.
So with our coffee, we're having a couple of local specialties. I'm having the arancini with pesto and ricotta. Nigel just thought he'd get a small slice of pizza.
Molto grande.
And it's got mortadella, pesto made with pistachio, and burrata.
Yeah, see. And the real Italian
Piccantolio.
Chili oil. Muy importante, molto.
This little pastry shop here is quite famous. It's the Maria Grammatico, and she's been using the same recipes and ingredients for 40 years, making these almond pastries. Wow, that was amazing, the food that we've just had. I've just purchased some of the pastries from Maria Grammatico. We wandered through the cobbled streets and around the walls for breathtaking views over the surrounding area. It is absolutely stunning here. It's a beautiful day today. The views out over this part of Sicily are incredible. It's just stunning. Next stop is the Venus Castle. This is the Balio Castle, or the Castle of Venus, and it was built on the site of a Roman temple to the goddess Venus. This castle itself was built in the year 1100 by the Normans. It's surrounded by these beautiful gardens which make a really nice respite on a hot summer's day. Connected to the castle are these old watchtowers, and there used to be a moat and a drawbridge there. We're now standing in the church of San Giuliano, and in this church there are sculptures, but they're made with wood, canvas and paint that they use for processionals. So it's a big thing in Sicily. On certain holy days they parade these sculptures through the streets. Traditionally these processions take place at Easter. There are groups known as the Casazzi, or the disciplined, who are people that will walk through the streets whipping and flagellating themselves to simulate the pain that Christ suffered on his way to his crucifixion. We've just stopped outside the church of San Giuliano. There's a bit of a Christmas market here, and it's got a bit of a Germanic feel. There's German. I did see German sausages, but I've got my absolute favourite thing, which is the potato on a stick, I call it. Patata twister, they call it here. It was only €3, and we also had to get a German beer, which was also only €3. For such a small town, it's amazing that there are so many churches here. This is the San Martino. If you're planning a trip to Sicily, we've created an interactive Google map with all the places that we visited, where we stayed, even where we ate. And you can get this map for free simply by clicking the link in the description below or scanning the QR code on your screen now. We came to Palermo, the capital of Sicily, with no expectations. We wanted to learn more about the history of the mafia and the impact it had had on Palermo and Sicily. We'd only been there a day when we fell in love with this vibrant, lively city. From the impressive Norman and Baroque architecture and the breathtaking views from the roof of the cathedral, we enjoyed wandering through narrow, cobbled streets, spotting the real Palermo. We could have spent days wandering along these pedestrian streets and through the lively street markets. Oh, and did we mention the food? For more of this incredible city, check out our video on Palermo. Cefalù is a picturesque coastal town on Sicily's north coast. It's known for its golden beaches, a medieval old town with narrow winding streets and breathtaking scenery with the imposing La Rocca, a towering limestone cliff overlooking the town. For the best views of the town, we hiked up La Rocca, which is a moderately challenging hike, but well worth it for the ruins at the top and, of course, those views. You can see more of this hike in our Best Hikes in Sicily video. As it was winter, the camper parking places were closed and there are no campsites in town. We missed a no campervan sign, parked up on the street which has free parking for cars, and sadly we got a ticket. The next day we parked at the train station, which seemed safer.
Yeah, so it turns out it was our bad. We stuffed up. Yeah, there are signs clearly showing on the street where we were parked last night that free parking is settled, except camper vans. That's us. At the train station, beautiful rock behind us.
Okay, so I've got the ticket, used the machine. It's €1 per hour. So I've paid for 4 hours. We then made our way through the winding narrow streets into the old town to explore. This old town consists of these beautiful cobblestone streets. There's the same pattern on the roads everywhere we go. Grazie.
No grazie.
We don't normally sit down for our coffees because, you do pay more when you sit down, particularly outside. But with the view we've got today, I'm just doing a bit of a carb load. So it's a bread roll with...
Big hot, isn't it?
This one is the, I forget what it's called, chickpea fritter and potato fritters. And the lady's just told us that we need to put salt, pepper and a bit of lemon on it. Hopefully she's going to come back with a bit of lemon. Oh, legendary. Grazie. Ciao. The price actually wasn't too bad. It was like $10.50 for 2 coffees and that little sandwich. I expected it to be double that. So we are now going to go for a quick walk up and hopefully the cathedral is open. This is the Cathedral of Cefalù.
Albatross.
It's not an albatross. And it dates back to 1131. It's pretty old. It's built in the Gothic style. And this cathedral is part of the UNESCO World Heritage listing of Arab Norman architecture in Palermo and the cathedrals of Monreale and Cefalù. That's a bit of a mouthful. So the mosaics there, we've got Christ Pantocrator, I don't know what that means. Below him is the Blessed Virgin Mary surrounded by 4 archangels, and then below that are the 12 apostles and evangelists. So this here is the medieval washhouse. It's located at sea level and approximately 4 levels below the street. So as you walk down this curving staircase, you can see the cast iron spigots that bring the water in, and then these kind of basins where the women would do the laundry. I'm guessing it was women. And then through there, the water just must run out to the sea. You can see that little opening down there. So we've just come across this beautiful old building here, but we're trying to figure out what's going on with the doorways. And just after that gorgeous building, we come to this archway, the Porta Pescara. This is the only remaining of the 4 gates that once surrounded the city in the walls, and it was restored in the 16th century, but it frames this gorgeous shot of the water. When we come through that arch, it brings us down onto this little beach, which in the summer would be absolutely packed. It's so nice to be here at this time of year when there's nobody around.
So my eyes got distracted with all these tiles. It turns out this pole that I've got my hand on is part of a competition. So every year, 6th of August, this pole is greased up with tallow and it's horizontally hung out over the pier, and all these tiles are the winners of the competition, and the winner is the one who can get to the end of the pole and grab the flag. And it's been done since 1972. Well, the documentation of the winners, it doesn't say how long this competition's been going on for, but it'd be a hell of a laugh, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be so fun to see.
The celebrations are in honour of the SS Salvatore, the Holy Saviour, whom the cathedral is dedicated to.
There's basically 2 beach areas here in Cefalù. This one right here in the city, this little small beach that you access through that arch, and then this big long beach that goes all the way along where we were camped, where we got our fine. After spending some time by the water, we headed back through town where we caught this moment of local life in Cefalù. Throughout our time in Sicily, Mount Etna had loomed high above us. This 3,300 metre giant is Europe's most active volcano. I've always wanted to climb an active volcano and look into the crater. We'd hoped to do this here in Sicily, but recent volcanic activity meant that access above 3,000 metres was closed and the group trekking tour we booked onto was cancelled. However, we did manage to drive our van, after getting the obligatory snow chains, up to the highest point that cars can go, and then we hiked on the flanks of the volcano. Visiting several craters. This one erupted in 2001, causing a large lava flow down the mountain. This was the perfect way to end our time in Sicily. For more of this incredible adventure, check out our Mount Etna video. It's our last day in Sicily today, and we've saved the best for last.
Yeah, bellissimo.
See. Grazie, Sicilia.
Ciao, and grazie, Sicilia.
Wait, we promised you some hidden gems. So here's 5 other places that we visited in Sicily that you might like to check out. We visited Noto on a day when we were taking a break from filming, but we couldn't help capturing some of these beautiful buildings. Noto is a stunning Baroque town known for its ornate architecture and golden-hued buildings. It's one of the 7 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Sicily. We strolled along the main street, the Corso Vittorio Emanuele, to admire these beautiful buildings.
There you go.
Marzamemi is a small fishing village with quaint stone buildings, turquoise waters and a laid-back atmosphere. We've gone through the main square and come down here to the little harbour, and you can really see that it's a fishing village. The town was once a tuna fishing hub and seafood features heavily on all the menus here. We visited Butera completely on a whim. We were driving along the main highway and noticed it up on top of the hill. We had a wonderful encounter here with a local who showed us around. If you're looking for somewhere that few other tourists go, check out Butera and say hi to Fausto for us if you meet him. It's been a while since we've had a really epic free camp, but this is definitely one of them. We could see the bluff of San Vito lo Capo from Erice, and I found what looked like a good spot to wild camp on our camping app. It certainly didn't disappoint, even if getting down the track was a little bit hectic.
There you go.
Yep, plenty of room. We made it. So here we are, right by the ocean. The sun's just setting. We had read that Cefalu was worth visiting for the sea stacks, these rocks protruding from the ocean. We didn't actually visit the town. We came here to hike one of the best trails in Sicily, the Path of the Orchids. Join us next week to see that hike, along with some of our other favourite hikes in Sicily. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.